Today we need to talk about V apparently seen bleeding in a photo and what people believe this is about. We also need to get into Jung Kook believed to be stalked and possibly poisoned at the military by a police officer at the camp. And then we have new laws being made that could cause a lot of arrests. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave. Decide hate it or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumpling, taste spilling mug merch, and let's go. There's recently been a new law that is causing controversy within labels, and if labels disobey, we might start to see some CEO and head of labels start to get arrested. And I understand why from their perspective, but from a human perspective, no one should be against this. So what is this new law and what is actually going on? Well, apparently the government announced that they will be enacting a new law for trainees in the K-pop label to have a bit more rights and for that industry to be a bit more regulated. Something that is very frustrating when starting out in entertainment is until you're famous and successful and making a certain amount of money, you won't be a part of any union and the laws typically don't protect you much. This is especially more when you're in Korea. Labels can withhold or delay debut until an idol gets plastic surgery or withhold debut until they reach a weight loss goal. Now, these things will be considered highly illegal. This was also the case a long time ago within the US, but now we have regulations here. Now, this has become a bigger issue because these K-pop trainees were debuting and training younger and younger. And also K-pop was starting to become something that was global. Now we are having people from all around the world looking at Korea, and Korea wants to make sure that they are legitimizing and not to do anything shady so that the music and the culture can start to be accepted on a more global mainstream level. I think a lot of Americans sometimes even feel guilty for liking K-pop due to the specific training methods, as well as some of the racist aspects of K-pop, but hopefully these things will start to go away soon. Now you might be thinking, who on earth would object to this new law and new changes? Surely not trainees, and the general public seems to be happy about it too. Well, it's not the same feeling for the labels. A lot of labels have built their business over the idea that K-pop also not only represents singing and dancing, but also visuals. And thus is the reason why plastic surgery and weight loss is even an issue for the trainees. Some labels argue that their entire business model could be in danger should this happen. However, I disagree. I think there will be groups that are going to naturally rear on the side of small and skinnier, and if the audience only likes those groups, then those groups will shine. However, there's people that say that they cannot become a fan of K-pop groups because the girls are too skinny and they feel that supports a bad body image. So there should be groups that cater to those people. So this is what I would hope would happen. However, realistically, what is going to happen may actually be worse. And the reason I say this is because it's happening in the US with American labels. If you're someone who has gained weight, or since forcing plastic surgery isn't legal, maybe you just don't look a certain way, instead of the labels working with you to try to fix that, they're now going to just push you to the side and forget about you. And this is what American labels do. Once you're not marketable anymore or sales dip, they won't let you release an album or a song. Nothing. And then if the contract is up, they'll just drop you. And I don't know what is worse here, because the thing I've always hated about the American labels and American entertainment industry is that they don't work with you. And I'm not saying plastic surgery or looks are the main thing that is going to catapult a career, but if they stop doing those things, they'll also stop enforcing perfection among the trainees in terms of dancing and singing. But they're not going to stop wanting perfection because the audience is still expecting that. They're just not going to enforce it, or they'll only sign people who are already perfect or already have a following online, which is exactly what the American labels are doing, and exactly what makes pursuing a music career in the US almost near impossible. And then pretty soon these Korean labels are going to be like Western labels where they don't do open auditions anymore and only sign people they reach out to. However, I will say something that I think will make this law good is that the government is also offering counseling and coaching for those who did spend many years as a trainee and now need advice on switching career paths. I think that is a lovely service to offer, and I hope those careers still include a path in entertainment for those who want to be in it, because oftentimes when speaking to these coaches, they like to offer jobs like becoming a lawyer or doctor, and obviously those are great careers. But if your heart is in the arts, then there should be options there. We live in a world where I think new art is always welcomed, and I would love to see more of it, either from veterans in the industry or people who are new. I think people were all very surprised when we heard that V was releasing some music with IU. I think people were all shocked that there was music coming out while V is literally gone. IU is releasing a song featuring V as an actor, and the song is called Love Wins All. There's a promo photo that has come out where we see IU and V both in scars and bleeding a bit. This was interesting because then people took a photo that V posted posted where it was a behind the scenes photo and put together that this photo with V bleeding was likely shot when V was on set for shooting this music video. And this photo was posted about a month and a half ago. So it likely could have even been a week or so before then. I love when we see these behind the scenes moments because these give us a look into how things were made, because I'm sure there's people who aren't following this closely to BTS and what they do. They could think that the boys are still not enlisted yet. And I kind of like that. It makes it feel like the boys are still active and everything is good. I mean, if each of the members still have some little bit of things coming out, we would really only be not having BTS content for like 2 or 3 months before we see Jin back again. And it's crazy to think that in almost 4 months we would see Jin back. Like, the time has passed so fast and the boys did such an amazing job spacing everything out to really feel like BTS has never left. It's almost crazy to think that there has been more content since they left than when they were actually around. It's also crazy to think that since the members have left, there really hasn't been a break in terrible alleged things that have happened to them. One thing that was actually very shocking that was reported on X but hasn't made it to mainstream coverage was that there was an alleged officer who had leaked Jimin and Jung Kook private photos. Now, I addressed something like this, the video before this one, where I said I think we all figured out that the alleged leak photos of Jimin and Jung Kook were all photoshopped photos. However, this apparently is not that photo. I could not find the actual photo, and I would recommend those to not look it up, as ARMYs have done a great job at apparently burying that photo or photos. There's also apparently been Jungkook and Jimin lock code for their dorm leaked, so where they were staying at the camp. This comes out at a shocking time because it seems almost late since the boys are leaving their camp to be shipped off somewhere else. It really wouldn't matter if their dorm code was leaked now, as they're not living there anymore. I don't know how legit this is or if this is just hearsay. However, I don't know what the point of lying about this is, so it could happen. Jin had a situation where it was initially believed that a nurse had stalked him and given him an illegal vaccine. However, what we did ultimately find out from that story was that the nurse ultimately did not do anything illegal and it was all a misunderstanding. I can't even fully blame the media for the misunderstanding because the media gets their information from somewhere. That person who gathered the information interprets it a completely different way, and then the reader has their own complete interpretation of whatever's going on. So then things get blown out of proportion. I don't know the full detail about what is happening with this alleged police officer, but I'm keen to believe it is not what everyone is saying. It could be Photoshop photos. If it's someone that is in the military, they likely have access to photos taken of the boys, and some photos could just be photos that they took but never planned on posting and it got posted. Doesn't necessarily mean it's Sasang photos or it's an officer being a Sasang. The idea of a Sasang being fed private information by a police officer is very dramatic and easy to believe because we actually like to believe that the world has a lot of injustice, but it just might not be that, because then people are saying that since there's a police officer at the camp leaking door codes and pictures of Jungkook and Jimin, then it's just a hop, jump, skip away from the members getting poisoned and that stuff. But it's not the case, as if that were to happen, wouldn't the boys not be okay? They would have been injured long before and would have heard Hybe speak out about them being in the hospital or something. The fact that nothing has happened is showing me that nothing illegal actually happened at the camp. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. A link down below. Thanks, just a lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.